Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. I'm Dan Lieberman, and I'll spend the next 30 minutes or so discussing East Bay Community Energy's solar net energy metering program for residential customers. I tried to put everyone on mute, but you can use the chat function if you want to communicate with us during the webinar. There's a lot of material to cover, so I'll try to move somewhat quickly through the slides for about 25 minutes and allow some time at the end of the session for questions. Please note that our website has a page on solar net energy metering under the Rates tab at ebce.org. First, some background. EBCE is Alameda County's official electricity provider. We're a public agency based in downtown Oakland, formed by Alameda County and 11 cities therein. We offer low rates, green power options, and a growing portfolio of programs that complement the programs you continue to receive from PG&E as an EBCE customer. EBCE is known as a Community Choice Aggregator, or a CCA. A 2002 law allows communities to form their own electricity procurement provider called a CCA. In 2015, Alameda County commissioned a feasibility study, and then 2 years later, a joint powers agreement was signed which formed EBCE. This past June 2018, we launched service to commercial customers, and in 2018, we launched to our residential service. And now we'll talk a little bit about our net energy metering service that we're rolling out. But first, I should mention that enrollment in EBCE is automatic. That's a legal requirement. Customers who take no action are enrolled in EBCE automatically. Customers can opt out of EBCE service anytime, and we send customers multiple notifications by mail when we enroll them. Enrollment for solar NEM accounts will be based on the PG&E true update for each individual customer. So customers that have a PG&E true update from January to April will be enrolled in April 2019, and then after April, enrollments will be bi-monthly. For example, customers with May or June true updates will be enrolled in EBCE service in June. There are currently 8 operational CCAs in the Bay Area, and that number is estimated to grow to 20 agencies statewide by 2020, with a combined service area population of 18 million. MCE was the first operating CCA. They launched in 2010 in Marin County. And the exciting news is that currently all of these operating CCAs offer greener power at lower rates than PG&E. This is a map of our service area. EBCE's board is made up of 1 elected official from each city we serve, as well as a county supervisor. Our board meetings are open to the public and usually occur on the 3rd Wednesday of the month in Hayward. You can find the details on our website in the Public Meetings tab about the upcoming meetings and agendas and the past meeting minutes. There are 3 cities in Alameda County that are not participating in EBCE. Those are the city of Alameda, which has its own municipal utility, as well as Newark and Pleasanton. And Newark and Pleasant can join EBCE after 2020 if their city councils vote to do so. EBCE also serves the unincorporated areas of the county, such as San Lorenzo, Ashland, Cherryland, Fairview, Castro Valley, and Sunol. So EBCE sources electricity from clean and green energy sources, meaning we have a higher percentage of carbon-free and renewable energy sources like hydroelectric, solar, and wind power. PG&E delivers the electricity, they maintain the lines, they handle customer billing as they always have, and they meter your power. When there's a power outage, customers should call PG&E, and EBCE customers pay PG&E for all of those services. So PG&E should be essentially financially indifferent to this arrangement. Customers still receive a single monthly bill. They make a single payment to PG&E, and customers don't pay EBCE directly. EBCE's charges are included in the PG&E billing total, and PG&E will send a portion of the revenue to EBCE. For EBCE customers, many things remain the same. Customers continue to receive a single bill, as I mentioned. They call PG&E in the event of an outage. They retain all of the same customer discounts automatically, including care for low income, FARA medical baseline, and PG&E employee discount. And EBCE has the same rate schedules as PG&E. So if you are on a time of use rate, for example, EBCE has you on the same rate schedule automatically, same time of use hours and everything. Differences include that EBCE offers a rate that is lower than PG&E, our Bright Choice service, and we also offer some green power options, which I'll review, and some programs that are additional to what you receive from PG&E. So these are the three service options that EBCE offers. These services overlay your PG&E rate schedule. Bright Choice is the default service for most customers, and it's our discount option. It's priced slightly below PG&E's rates. Brilliant 100 is priced at parity with PG&E and sourced from a combination of large hydropower, wind, and solar. And then Renewable 100 costs a penny premium per kilowatt hour and is sourced from 50% wind and 50% solar from California. And we want to note that these rates are inclusive of all fees. So when we say, for example, Brilliant 100 is the same price as PG&E, that's inclusive of all the fees. And then, of course, customers can choose among those three options, or they can return to PG&E anytime by opting out of EBCE service. We recommend that if you're going to change your service, especially as a commercial customer, that you call our call center between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekdays, and you can speak with a live representative. And then customers who opt out after June 2019, there's a one-time $25 administrative charge for commercial accounts. That's for standard service. And then if you're a NEM customer, you have through June 2020 to opt out without a fee. After that, it's $25. But it's $25 for a commercial account and only $5 for a residential account. So now we'll move along to our solar net energy metering, or NEM, policies. It's important for EBCE customers to understand that EBCE service replaces PG&E generation service. Our service is not an additional charge, it's a replacement charge. PG&E customers are used to having their generation rates presented as a bundled cost per kilowatt hour, as you see in that left pie chart, and in most cases also having natural gas charges on their bill. When you're on EBCE service, PG&E removes their cost of generation service by issuing a generation credit, and then they fill that void on the bill with three new charges: EBCE generation, the power charge and difference adjustment, or PCIA, and the franchise fee. And for customers on Bright Choice, which is our savings option, the sum of those three charges will be less than the generation credit value, creating a discount compared with what PG&E would have charged you. This treatment's the same whether you're a NEM customer or not on NEM. So the next few slides are going to provide some very detailed and possibly confusing information. So I just want to pause here and say that in the big picture, the differences between EBCE and PG&E service will have minimal bill impact for most customers. The differences are complicated to understand, and hopefully I'll explain them to your satisfaction, but most customers will be financially about the same over the course of a year, whether they're on PG&E or EBCE for generation service. So here is a slide with a lot of text that will walk through all of these cells over the course of the webinar here. Perhaps the most important takeaway from this webinar is that for most solar customers on EBCE service, all of your PG&E charges for power delivery will continue to be handled exactly the same as they always have been. You'll pay the minimum delivery charge each month. You'll have the same annual true-up with PG&E for your delivery charges and credits. And the main difference is that on EBCE service, your generation credits and charges are now handled by EBCE. But EBCE does a monthly account balancing. So if you have net surplus generation in a given month, EBCE will credit that amount at retail generation rates into your account balance, just as PG&E would do. But if you have a negative account balance, EBCE will charge you that amount at retail generation rates, which PG&E doesn't do. They would hold that charge until your annual true-up. So now I'll walk through a few slides that detail what stays the same and what's different. First, the generation credits. Whether on EBCE service or PG&E generation service, any monthly excess solar generation is saved in your account at the retail rate for that kilowatt hour. When you're on time of use rates, your charges and credits are valued at the effective rate at the time of generation or consumption. So if you're on peak, that's a peak kilowatt hour. If you're off peak, it's an off peak kilowatt hour. That's the same treatment whether you're on EBCE or PG&E. Note that new solar installations that came online after EBCE launched in June 2018, and that are also on CARE or low income, a CARE rate or our municipal accounts, those will receive an extra penny per kilowatt hour for surplus generation. Also note that customers are charged and credited based on their EBCE service level. So EBCE customers on Renewable 100 will be credited an extra penny for surplus generation, but will also pay an extra penny per kilowatt hour for power they need to purchase. This is a visual depiction of a typical generation account balance over a year for a small business account or a residential account. All generation account balances will be at $100 or less following April because of EBCE's cash out policy, which I'll describe. We do an annual cash out for accounts that have at least 100 in balance. Then accounts following April typically build up credits over the summer and early fall and then draw down their credit balance over the winter months. EBCE will only charge customers when their generation account balance is negative. For many customers, they'll only have bill charges from EBCE in late winter months leading up to April. However, in these cases, paying a little each month avoids having a large true-up bill that those customers would have received with PG&E bundled service. So looking at this example, at the month leading up to April, if this customer was on PG&E generation service, they would accrue $90 in generation charges they would owe at true-up, whereas on EBCE service, they would pay $30 each month for 3 months. Note that in October, this customer is a net consumer of energy. They don't generate as much power as they used. However, since they've accrued generation credits with EBCE in prior months, they'll not make a payment to EBCE in October. In fact, for this customer profile, the customer will not make a payment to EBCE from May through January. Hold on one sec. Sorry, there we go. As we've mentioned, customers on EBCE service continue their annual true-up schedule with PG&E for delivery charges. In addition, EBCE has its own cash out in April for accounts with a generation balance over $100. For those accounts, EBCE will issue a check to you. The payment will be at retail generation rates for solar systems that were installed since we launched. The new systems are credited at retail, and systems that were installed before June 2018 will receive wholesale rates. That's because EBCE has a limited financial resource for payout, and our board wanted to focus the available resources on creating incentives for new solar development. But note that our wholesale payment is actually the same rate that PG&E uses, so even solar customers receiving wholesale rates at true-up from EBCE are not worse off on our service compared to what they would have received on PG&E service. For more recent solar installations, EBCE will do the April cash out at the retail generation rate for up to $2,500. Amounts over $2,500 will receive that wholesale net surplus compensation or NSC rate. This is a good time to note that a typical kilowatt hour costs about 24 cents for an E1 residential account. That's the whole bundled annual average cost of a kilowatt hour. But of that 24 cents, only about 10 cents is the generation portion. So when we're talking about generation costs and generation credits, we're only dealing with those 10 cents of each kilowatt hour. The remaining 14 cents per kilowatt hour is for delivery, and that is the same treatment whether you're on EBCE or PG&E service. So, all of these discussions we're having are only around the smaller portion of value, the generation portion of that kilowatt hour. So rate schedules, this slide reiterates that EBCE has the same rate schedules and discounts as PG&E. Some customers get concerned that they are on E6, which is a rate schedule that PG&E no longer offers. EBCE honors that rate schedule, and the rate schedule that you're on is an agreement between the customer and PG&E. Participating in EBCE has no impact on that determination, so you can't lose E6 status by participating as an EBCE customer. So now we'll review a few example bills. There are two common scenarios that we'll review. Both are net consumers of power in the month. So if you're a net producer of power in the month, that just gets credited on your bill. That's pretty easy to see. These are a little bit more difficult examples. In the first example, we'll have a customer that doesn't have any available generation credits in their account. And then in the second example, we'll look at a customer who does have generation credits available. So this is the first page of a PG&E bill for an EBCE NEM customer. You'll see EBCE charges if your generation account balance has gone negative. So it doesn't mean that you've had a month where you haven't generated enough. You only see charges if your whole balance has gone negative. So this customer is paying $24.42 to EBCE this month. PG&E's account summary also appears on this page, though you can see that the only PG&E charge related to electricity is the $11.44 minimum delivery charge. PG&E will continue to provide detailed information about your NEM account. For those of you with solar, this page will look familiar. PG&E shows your net monthly usage and your estimated total for the year. And then for time of use customers, you would see separate DINs for peak, part peak, and off peak here. This is a customer on flat rate E1. PG&E continues to provide the two graphs showing monthly performance as well as cumulative balance. For this customer, you can see that they have 2 months of operation since their last true up, and only in the most recent month had a net surplus of generation. Here's the page of the bill that calculates PG&E's minimum delivery charge. It goes into an accrual account toward your annual transmission and delivery charges. And here you see that there's a 1084 amount in tax, and it totals 1144. And this page details your energy costs for the billing cycle. PG&E tallies up the net kilowatt hours and applies the usage tiers, which are also known as the conservation incentive. You can see that this customer stayed within their Tier 1 allocation. If the customer had a care rate or a medical baseline discount, you would see that applied on this page. And in fact, if this bill spans 2 seasons or a calendar year, you would see this all broken down into separate chronological sections. The generation credit here shows what you would have paid PG&E for generation service. And you can also see the power charge and difference adjustment, the PCIA, and the franchise fee surcharges. The PCIA is a sort of exit fee that pays PG&E for money they lose related to contracts they've signed in past years. Because EBCE is now serving their load, PG&E is oversupplied with power and selling excess power in the market, often at a loss. So the PCIA ensures that they're made whole and are financially neutral regarding your departure from their generation service. When EBCE sets our rates, we know the PCIA and the franchise fee, and we build our rates around that so that even after paying those fees, our customers will pay less than what they would have paid PG&E if they're on our Bright Choice service. And this page shows EBCE's charges. You'll see this as a separate page in the bill. This slide also shows the math that a customer can do to demonstrate their monthly savings, and we don't really have time to go through all the math, but EBCE has an information sheet on our residential and commercial websites to help you make that calculation. It steps you through all the steps to calculate out your bill. I recommend taking a look at that when you have the chance. And now we'll look at an example of a net producer of solar in the month who has the credits. So you can see that in this month, the customer makes no payment to EBCE, and they only pay the minimum delivery charge to PG&E, along with their natural gas charges. Their transmission and distribution balance accrues as usual for the delivery side of the bill, just as it did in the previous example. And then this graph shows the monthly increase in their account balance this month. That's a nice thing to see for the customer. And then this is the minimum delivery charge, still there. It's based on how many days. So you remember the last time it was 33 days for $11 and change. This one's 30 days, so it's a little lower. And here, this is the generation credit, the PCIA, and the franchise fee. And actually, if you have annual surplus generation, your PCIA and franchise fee will go negative for those units. So it all tracks, the whole generation value sort of tracks together. And then here you can see the EBCE billing page where the NEM balance is reduced, but the customer is not charged. So there's $927 debited out of their account, but the balance is still there. They still have $39.80 in their account. And before we move into questions and answers, I want to encourage you to sign up for our mailing list. If you go to our website, you'll see a mailing list sign-up form at ebce.org. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We try and keep our social media fresh. And our board meetings are open to the public. They're an important way for our board and staff to gather input and feedback, and so we encourage you to attend and speak up. And then finally, we're doing a lot of in-person outreach, and we hope to see you at events in the community. And I hope the presentation has provided the information you need to understand EBCE's NEM program and how it compares to PG&E's NEM program. And we have a few minutes to take questions, so please use the chat function if you have a question, and then we'll click to the next slide so that you have our contact information. So let's see. I have a question here about if a customer wants to switch to Renewable 100, do you need to wait until they're true up or any other time? Really, you can opt back and forth among EBCE's 3 options. So you can switch among Bright Choice, Brilliant 100, and Renewable 100 on a month-to-month basis. There's no cost for making that switch. For the switch itself, there's no administrative fee. But it can take some time for that change to go into effect because, if you call in, there's a certain billing cycle, meter read cycle that you're on. And if we don't get the notice within, more than 5 days before your meter read cycle, then it'll go into effect during the following meter read cycle. So while it is sort of a monthly agreement, it can sometimes take a little bit of processing time. But yeah, you can make that switch anytime. And then I have I have a question about how a NEM business decides which EBCE plan it should be on. And I guess I'll take this in 2 steps. First, some customers wonder if they're on the rate schedule, and that's something that they should discuss with PG&E. So for example, if you're trying to decide about whether you should be on a time of use rate or not, PG&E will work with you to do the analysis and see what's the best rate for you. So that conversation pretty much starts and ends with PG&E about what rate schedule you're on. And then in terms of what plan you're on, that's sort of more of a matter of personal preference between Bright Choice, Brilliant 100, and Renewable 100. Bright Choice is our savings option, so we find our most price-sensitive customers are on that, on that offering. And then we're finding a lot of our municipal accounts like Brilliant 100 because it allows them to be carbon-free without paying a premium. You pay the same that you would pay PG&E, but you're getting carbon-free, 100% carbon-free power. And then Renewable 100, that's really for businesses that are willing to pay a premium to get just all of their power from wind and solar. And we have some promotion that we'll do around that. So we'll try and bring some additional value. One is we actually have a Renewable 100 option for LEED points that is green certified. So if you're trying to get your building green certified through U.S. Green Building Council's LEED program, we can sign a 5-year contract, which is a requirement, and get you those points through Renewable 100. Otherwise, we're just trying to promote businesses on Renewable 100 through social media and that sort of thing. There's some other branding opportunities through the EPA Green Power Partnership. So, there's some value there in paying the premium. But I think of that as a decision that the purchaser will make. And then there's a question about who to call if you want to opt in or out of our service. So if you want to opt out of our service, you would contact EBCE. For customers that are already being served, you can self-serve on our website. For customers that are still waiting to be served on them, you can call our call center. That's the best way to do that. You can opt out in advance now as a NEM account holder if you call, and you'll need to speak to a customer service representative. They're available on weekdays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you can find all the contact information on the footer of each page of our website. And then someone asks if they should call to change plans, or you can make changes online. So if you wanted to switch among, let's say you wanted to opt up to Renewable 100, if you're currently being served, you can do that on our website. If you go to the top of the screen on our website, you'll see a button that says opt up, and you'll see a button that says opt out. And so you can always self-serve that way. The exception to that is net energy metering customers whose true up is after April. For those accounts, you're just going to have to call in. You're not really live in our system yet. So, when in doubt, give our call center a ring. They're very friendly, knowledgeable folks. They can answer your questions about net metering and answer any other questions you have. So then there's a question about when NEM businesses get moved to EBCE, will they be contacted and asked to sign a contract? So no, everything we're doing right now is month to month. When your customer, let's say you have NEM and your true up is in June, you'll receive notices from us in May, June, July, and August, I think, or you'll get 4 notices notifying you that you're going to be served, and then 2 post-enrollment notifications saying you are served by EBCE. That's all automatic. You can opt out if you wish, but the enrollment will just drop you in starting in June. And there's no contract to sign. You just are on our rates month to month. We have our rate schedules posted. We try to only change our rates annually when PG&E changes our rates. We just had a minor rate adjustment, but kept the same value proposition. So we just kept our discount at our discount, and we kept Brilliant 100 at price parity. And we expect, at least for the coming period of time, that we'll sort of mirror PG&E's rates. Most CCAs have stuck to that formula. I think it helps customers to understand how our rates work. There's no contract. You can just opt out whenever you wish and return to PG&E service. But note that if you return to PG&E service, you are on their service for a year before you can come back. You can't keep hopping back and forth across the fence. When you opt out, you have to opt out for the full year. And then one other thing I should mention is if you're planning to install solar, your interconnection is all done through PG&E and your local municipality. So when you're trying to get it permitted and approved and getting your permission to operate, that's all done through PG&E. We just accept that agreement. So, if you are trying to oversize your system, that's something you're going to have to work out with PG&E. If you're trying to just, get onto a certain rate schedule or whatever, that's all done through PG&E. You'll have to get a permit through the city. We're not involved in that. But when PG&E issues that permission to operate, they'll let us know that you're an M customer. They'll let us know what rate schedule you're on, and we'll just pick it up from there. And there's a question about, do I direct all my questions about my bill to PG&E? Well, any questions that you have about their charges are really questions for them, and any questions that are about our charges are questions for us. I have found PG&E reluctant to make any comments about a CCA when you call them. You know, I think our call center reps, they can see your PG&E Blue bill, and so they might be willing to talk about some of those charges. For example, they'll talk you through what the power charge and difference adjustment is and the franchise fee. They'll show you how to calc out your bill. I don't think PG&E's call center is doing that at this time, but they will answer questions about any charges related to their service. And I want to be sensitive about people's time. We're at 12:32, and I think I've gotten through the questions that I'm seeing up on the screen here. So I really appreciate you taking the time to listen and learn about EBCE. We really look forward to serving you, and please do stay attuned to the programs that we're offering. I think that you'll be excited to see some new and innovative options down the road around maybe battery storage, EV incentives, that sort of thing, sort of programs that other CCAs have launched, and we hope that you'll participate in those as well. So have a good day, and we'll see you around.